ready for marriage. He was one brother that doesn't look at women. That I don't even know that can talk and propose. In fact, at the end of the day, they were asking me, was I the one that proposed to him, or he was the one that proposed to me? You get what I'm trying to say? Everyday life, people you meet, you can pass your husband on the road without knowing, and you have looked down on him. The person you're working with can be your in-law.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another edition of Sarah's Kindred right here on KINGODOM-WORD Radio, your online gospel radio that helps you know Christ and live by his truths. Sarah's Kindred is a program where women who fear the Lord speak with each other about the way to live appropriately as people serving the Lord. Right here on this program, we also teach each other what is good. That is what is right to do. I am Ikechi Odu, and you are welcome. You can be a part of our conversation by joining in on all our socials, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter at the KW Radio, or you can send an email at radio@pastor.ng. We'll be right back after this break. Please stay tuned. Good to have you back again on our program, Sarah's Kindred, on KINGODOM-WORD Radio. You can share your contributions or your learning on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at the KW Radio. And to our topic for the day. Like you all know, we have been on a 3-part series themed The Marriage Miracle. And I'm so excited, not because it's our final edition on this theme, but because of our guest that I will be introducing shortly. But before I do that, we are going to our subject for today. Our subject today is a session on marriage realities. Marriage realities. Now to our guest for today. I'm so excited to introduce Pastor Mrs. Ikechi Odu-Okoye. Woman of God, you're welcome to the program today.
Thank you, ma.
It's so amazing to have you here. We don't take it for granted. For like we say, if you know, you know. So if you don't know, I'm going to introduce this woman of God. She's a marriage counselor. She's the convener of My Love and Life Ministry Outreach. And this ministry actually has 2 outreaches in Enugu every year. Sorry, singles. The one for the singles is already gone. It's a youth symposium every February. So I'm going to call out her Facebook platform so you can follow her on that. And for the couples, she has a marriage banquet every November. So please, starting from today, you can follow her on Facebook via her handle, My Love and Life.
That's right.
She's been married for a whooping 11 years, all respects, ma.
Thank
and she has 4 amazing children. Once again, you're welcome, madam.
Thank you, ma.
Are you excited about our topic or what?
Yes. Oh, yes, I am. I am.
Look, some ladies are so awed by the weight of responsibilities involved in marriage when they get married newly. So in this episode, I'm so humble. We can't do it all. This is just a sneak peek. And I'm saying this to our singles because don't think once you listen to this program, you have gotten all the gist. It's just a sneak peek into what the married life is all about. You see, this conversation was born out of something that always happens to my husband and I. People who get married just come to us and say, you didn't tell us it's this way. Like, what? So before I start looking like marriage is a scam, madam, you are going to help us today. What are the realities of marriage? So for our first question, we are just going to discuss the domestic side of marriage, because I want us to divide this conversation into, into the domestic work as a wife, what is really expected as a wife, as a mother, as a married woman, just a little details, and we'll now go into other aspects of marriage, maybe the purpose aspect and other character aspects needed in marriage, so that no lady, no member of Sarah's kindred will use that word again. They did not tell me. That's our Nigerian way of saying you did not tell me. So, madam, when it comes to the domestic aspect of marriage, what should we be looking for? If a lady's wedding is today, if she wakes up tomorrow in her husband's house, what should she expect?
This is a big one. It's really a big one. Because if I understand the topic very, very well, a lot of expectation is out there.
Yeah.
And the single ladies, most times, the things that bothers married women is not what bothers
so true.
The single ladies.
Yes.
They all they want is just to get into it.
Yes.
And by the time they get into it, just like you said, in the morning, they realize, is this what marriage is all about? Okay. So in that case, when it comes to domestic aspect of it, what it is literally is, you have entered. So you face where you have entered. During national anthem, you're marching, like march past. They say eyes right, you face towards where the prestigious one is standing.
Yes, ma'am.
So in marriage, it's eyes right, you face your husband or you face your wife. Okay, so I can't start listing a domestic one, because most times they know it, but they don't want to hear the truth.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
There's some questions that when it comes to you, even when you're married and someone is asking you, is this right? Is this wrong? They know the answer.
You know where the heart is.
Hey, they know it.
Wow.
But they are looking for someone, how I wish this person will give me a different view of what it is. Okay? Like now, I keep saying this. Your husband, or rather, let me use the word spouse. Your spouse happen to be your first priority. First priority. Making your spouse happy is your first priority. And these have different branches. We can spring forth in different areas. You can term it domestic. You can term it whatever thing you want to term it. Because as time goes by, the children start coming forth. So when they start coming, your expectation of what you thought the children will be another reality that will enter afterwards. Wow. When the job start coming and the stress of ministry and all that start coming in, it's another reality that is dawning on you. Either as a pastor's wife or as a mother, it can spring in different forms. So if we take it gradually, if a married woman, a married man bears in mind that my husband, my spouse happiness is my utmost priority. After God, the other one, it makes you think rightly. So any step you want to take, if this will suit God and suit your spouse, then do it. If it will not suit God and it's not suit your spouse, then don't do it. So the domestic aspect of it, it's vast. So if you wake up in the morning and of course your husband, like someone like my husband, he said he had this notion, like, let me get married so I can rest. Let me get married and rest. That kind of resting. She'll come and serve me food. She'll, take care of me and all that. But it was God that taught him that if you want to enjoy your marriage, there's no rest in it, though. There's no rest in it and all that. So that aspect is an aspect that young ladies that are stepping into marriage should ask themselves, is this what I want to get into? Do I have that time to consider God and my spouse in all my dealings? Food is waiting for you. Cleaning is waiting for you. A lot of house chores is waiting for you. You don't draw a timetable. The husband does this. The woman does this. No, you already know. Except you want to claim you don't know. Then you're lying to yourself. So that's just what it is.
The way I like to put it is that young ladies grow up and watch their mothers live with their fathers and think that their marriage will be different from that.
Without knowing
that it is, just imagine that, no, in my own kitchen, I will have AC.
You sweat too much.
Yes, so in my own kitchen, my husband will put AC, but you just have those ideas. So, and you just grow up blanking, the fact that you will wake up every morning and prepare a lunch box for your child to take to school. So these are some of the realities we want the singles to be aware of. Now, there's a reality in marriage I want you to talk about. When we talk about the marriage relationship, Nollywood and Hollywood has done us great harm in some aspect. The level of romance, the volume of romance we see in these our movies paint a very Cinderella picture for our ladies. Now, I want us to talk about husbands are human. A girl gets married at maybe 20, so she has seen a father who is 50, 60 at that time, he has made his mistake, he has grown up, he has learned the ropes, and she's comparing her husband, who is maybe 29, 32, to this established man she has grown up. How can we make that balance for the young wife that husbands are human? Husbands have weakness. Can you talk a little bit about this balance in marriage?
Husbands are humans, just like wives are
humans.
If I want to explain this very well, it's just like a Christian race. That's why at times I tell people, if you don't believe in this Christ, in this our Christ, it cannot work out.
Yes, ma.
Don't be confused of what you see in lying social medias. I keep telling them social medias, they are scam. That is scam, not the marriage. Not the marriage.
They are the scam.
Because some things you see, you think that's the way it is. But when you enter, you realize that's not actually the way it is. It's not like issues will not come up. It's not like your husband cannot make a mistake or your wife make a mistake. No. In fact, the mistakes are needed.
Wow.
Yes. The challenges are needed. That's the variety, actually. When it comes, what it does is the approach that you, the recipient, engages in, that makes your marriage different from the other marriage, like your neighbor's marriage. It's just like a Christian that you are a child of God, you're trusting God for a lot of things, increase, different levels of life. You don't want to encounter any challenge. You remain at that level. Yeah. You remain at that level till when you're ready to grow. If you're ready to grow, when you want to step, like climb a step, there's an effort you apply. That's your challenge.
Yes.
So if you're able to conquer and raise, you move into
the next
step. So if you're comfortable in your comfort zone, walking all around, then you remain at that level. So we should stop seeing our spouse, like our husband, like just like I said, expectation. You expected him a perfect man. You married a man 28, 29, and you expect him to know it all, be that perfect.
Even knowing the one that you are thinking. When did you know I'm thinking like this?
Exactly. And most times you that is thinking you want him to be perfect. You're not perfect either. You have your flaws too. You have your errors. There are some things bothering you too. There are some. If your husband is to write the list of your wrongdoings too, it will fill the paper front and back center. Do you understand? So you don't. Bible said, looking unto Jesus, the author and the finisher of our faith. He's the sample. You look up to him. So at the point he errs, your husband is not the devil. Your husband is not the one, your contender. Something must have prompted the action. So you see beyond. Why will you see beyond? Because you understand that the two of you are you're working things out for you to model your home as though you're modeling Christ to the world.
Yeah.
So in your husband's weakness, you're coming forth to become the strength. That is the same thing that happens to you when you think, when you want to blow your trumpet, you feel you're the perfect. You're already there. Without, you're not seeing yourself in the eyes that others are seeing you too. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So in that case, when your husband errs, don't see him. After all, there was a time when Christ told Peter, "Go ye behind me." Was he talking to Peter?
Yeah, it
wasn't.
Devil.
Because he looks for any opportunity to come in and create a room. That's the evil one. So you don't give no room for the devil. So whenever something comes in and you're not happy about it, you have a way to, you don't need to respond to issue the way it comes. So they are humans in as much as they have the Spirit of God. So the Spirit of God in them makes the difference.
Wow.
Even when they err, most times they are not happy that they err. But your approach, the way you manage the thing they didn't do right in your standard. I know I use the word standard. Because there is this expectation, things you want him to do, and he hasn't done it yet. So if they err and the Spirit of God, it's already telling them, you didn't do it well. You shouldn't add to it too by saying to you didn't do it well. Look for another way. Yes, wow. Another way to present it that won't look like you are robbing it. You're showing him his weakness and rubbing it on him. Like you have done it again. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So with that, he's human, but he have the Spirit of God in him that puts him on check.
I don't know what else is a definition of marriage realities than what you've just said.
Thank you.
Singles, what Madam is saying is, look, in the reality of marriage, that in marriage there will be issues.
Sure.
In marriage, the man is human.
Sure.
He will leave his shoe where you do not like. Because we are almost reeling these things out one by one so that our singles can be educated. But before we go on our break very quickly, I want to just ask a question from what you have said. When you were talking, you talked about finding a way to say something. So I understand that in marriage, there are difficult conversations. And I was talking to a young lady recently, and I was just telling her, you keep shying away from having very painful conversations. And look, in marriage, you're going to have plenty uncomfortable with your spouse, with in-laws, with your family. Look, can you just say a thing or two just before we go on our break concerning having the reality of having difficult and at times painful conversations in marriage?
When it comes to that aspect of marriage realities, if you're shying away from it, you're not in for business. Because the conversation is the aspect of the communication that is needed. If there is a communication gap, it's a big problem because you can't even air what you feel is not right. And they're not God. They can't be in your heart already and know what you're nursing inside. You know why I said this is, okay, let me use myself as an example because it's better when you talk out of experience. My approach might not be your approach.
Yes, ma'am.
But you understand the basic or the reason why I used my approach. Then you check out your spouse and find out the formula that will suit the two of you and use it. So my approach. I didn't say use mine. I said
yes,
my approach.
Let's get the underlining principles. Yes.
My husband is an easygoing person, fine. The first year of our marriage, there is this, I can't remember what actually happened, but I know he just talked to me in the sitting room and he said, Pretty, that's not right. You don't do that. And naturally, I'm this kind of person, if you want to scold me alone. Don't scold me where someone is. And when he said that, he said it out of his own sincerity, like, you don't do that. But my brother-in-law was there. My sister-in-laws were there because I live with them. So, and I got so cold. If you look at my face, you won't say I'm angry. I was okay. But you won't say I'm excited either. So, it's just straight face. And that was okay. Then, when we now went to bed, I've not tried it. In fact, that was even the first and last day I used that method. So, as the spirit leads, I use. So I tapped. He had this peace. He was already sleeping. He was in heavenlies. I called him. I said, "Love." He woke up. I said, "I want to apologize for making you talk to me the way you talk to me. Because if I hadn't done that, you wouldn't have said, no, it's okay. Hey, the way I've said it, it's okay. Because I was apologizing.
Wow.
Meanwhile, I came to confront.
So
I came from the apologizing part.
Yes.
That I'm sorry I did that. Because if I didn't do that, you wouldn't have, addressed me the way you addressed. So he now was trying to apologize to it's okay. Don't feel, I'm still holding it. It's okay. It's gone. So I said, but please next time, don't talk to me where your siblings are. It made me go into my shell, and I felt, no, they were not there. I said, you didn't see them. They were all there. So for his mind, when he was talking, he felt nobody was there, but they were there. So he now apologized and that was the first and the last day he talked to me in public.
Wow.
So it's an approach. Correction is an approach. And if there is something you are not comfortable with, what are your needs for?
Yeah.
Channel it to God. And he'll make things right. So in that aspect, that's just the little I can.
No, that's as you were talking, I was like, are we going to even make this? Are we going to divert to start making this an emotional realities? Because the weight of work needed for the skills we are talking about, you have to spend your singlehood building on this kind of skills.
But it's true.
Building on this kind of skills. You can't wear a white gown and the anointing of conversation comes upon you.
It cannot come like that.
So this is just to tell our singles in the building, see, while you are harassing yourself while you're normal, these are the things you should be investing your strength and your skills into sourcing.
That's true.
And getting and putting in, I call it, the marriage box. While you prepare before you step into that man's house.
That's true.
Look, we're going to continue when we come back from the break. We're going to talk a little bit about these skills, the reality of the skills that we need. Because we are trying to help this young lady that's been reading her Bible, going to fellowship, that look, why you are doing all these things? This brother you lash in the department, this father you don't respect. We have to start picking some of these skills, that we are overlooking or not being intentional about learning. So when we come back from the break, we are going to dive into these conversations. This is still Sarah's Kindred. We have been talking about marriage realities, and we have been having a 3-part series themed The Marriage Miracle. So when we come back, we shall dive into other aspects of this conversation. Please stay tuned. Welcome back.
Thank you.
This is still Sarah's Kindred on Kingdom-WORD Radio. We'll continue this conversation by diving into other aspects of marriage realities, which we have been talking about. But before we go into it, I want to encourage you to head on to our socials, check out what we have there, and let us know what you're learning. You can connect to our platforms via the KW Radio on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So we have been discussing the marriage miracle, and we've been talking about marriage realities, and you veered us into the realities of picking skills. Some of us have been working blindly. We are living with our parents, living with our aunties, or living in that house with neighbors, and we are just crying to heaven's door, when is this man coming? And we are not intentionally picking up that skill from that unpleasant boss in the office. Like there was something you said that, in fact, the challenge you're having with the husband, in fact, that is what brings the diversity.
Sure.
That's where the whole marriage thing is. So now, bringing it into the world of the singles, how can a single be more intentional about picking skills that you have already discussed that will be so relevant on the marriage platform?
Okay.
What should this single be doing now to prepare herself skill-wise?
If I see a single lady, I tell the person, congratulations, you're still single. I am telling you. Because you have the opportunity to think well.
Yeah.
Choose rightly.
Yeah.
Once you're married, you have entered.
You have entered.
You have entered. No going back. So, singleness is a blessing.
Wow.
It's a blessing. It's a time of preparation. So, you don't wait till brother shows up before you start becoming the woman you're supposed to be. Just like you cited, in your home, your siblings, who says issues will not come up? It will come up. But how do you manage it? How do you manage it? If you're able to overlook some things, confront some things with love, and keep living, you are learning something that your mouth might not be able to express. Wow. So it's a virtue you're inculcating. Bible said if there is something of something that you need to covet it. If it's a good virtue, covet it. You're living with you're in your office with a boss, very bossy, and he orders you around, and you go anywhere he wants to go because of the salary that is awaiting you. And your pastor will talk to you, and you feel so bad. Why should your pastor talk to you with all your services? Because you feel you're not paid naira and kobo. But those qualities, those things they are doing to you should be able to mature you as a Christian. See, if you want to get married and you have not attained Christian maturity, that's where you should get yourself prepared. It's not in searching for the man in different churches or searching for the woman in different churches. Some people go to one church and said, there's no young guy there. You leave the church and go, who told you that there's no young man there? When I married my husband, I did not know he was ready for marriage. He was one brother that doesn't look at women. That I don't even know that can talk and propose. In fact, at the end of the day, they were asking me, was I the one that proposed to him or he was the one that proposed to me? You get what I'm trying to say? Everyday life, people you meet, you can pass your husband on the road without knowing, and you have looked down on him. The person you're working with can be your in-law. And by the time you have looked like, what can this one offer? Tomorrow, the brother will bring you in as, look at the wife I want to marry. And at the end of the day, do you mean this is going to be your wife? Do you know what's happened between the two of us? Do you know what I'm trying to say? So, yes. In all essence of it, when people treat you bad and you're able to, Bible says, be slow to speak. Do not be quick to get angry. And you're practicalizing it. In your life every day. In your life every day. You're not waiting for a brother to start practicalizing it. You're already imputing it in yourself. You don't know what you're doing for yourself. It is when you're finally married that you look at some things your husband will do. You say, I've passed that level. I've passed that level. Because they are the things you have graduated from. But if you see all those and you ignore them, you face it in your marriage. It's waiting for you. Wow. Because some things you see and you don't call it something. When it comes in your marriage, it becomes something. Because it's coming from someone you love. Yeah. But your siblings, your colleagues at work, they are the people that are supposed to see that kind of lifestyle in you and actually testify that this one have the Holy Spirit. Wow. Because you're yielding the fruit. You're yielding the fruit. So if you yield the fruit, if you yield the fruit of love, people will want to come and pluck the fruit. If you yield peace, they want to come closer and pluck the peace. You're not the one enjoying your fruit. The fruits you're yielding as someone that has the Holy Spirit is for people around you to enjoy those fruits. So if you're not yielding the right fruits, you're scaring people away from you. Wow. So why will you say nobody is coming close to you when you're the masquerade? So, boy, when you're yielding the good fruits, you are on your own, telling them, this is the life of Christ. I'm hospitable. I have love in me. You're not speaking it.
You become a witness.
You become a witness. That is it.
A showcase.
Yeah. So people will look at you, a showcase. A showcase. That is it. Because they will look at you and they will see, by their fruits you shall know them. This one is one of them. So that is it. But if you see those things that will come like a test and you conquer it, this one will come again and you conquer it. If you see it and ignore them, you will hurt someone in where you're serving. You step on someone's toes. You won't apologize. You carry it over to your husband's home. Or someone will come and tell you, sister, this thing you did, I did not like it. Say, is this thing happened 2 years ago that I still bring? Please go. You cannot say, oh, sorry. Oh, that really hurt. Sorry. I'm sorry. And you try not to repeat that same mistake. When you keep doing it, you're already preparing yourself as someone that knows that tomorrow I'm going to be with one particular man that I did not grow up with.
Reality.
Exactly. Reality.
Hardcore
It will come on
reality.
you. One man that we never share the same background. One man, a different man altogether, that I'm now saying, how they put, forever till death do us part. It becomes a good sentence that you're making because you feel everything is good. But it becomes a life sentence when there are issues that you need to handle that you're shying away from. So that's basically what it is. So anything that comes your way and you manage it well, it is for your future. It is for your future.
So any single that is not actively growing in the spirit, in the path of love,
beautiful,
is not intentionally being conformed to the image of Christ, is doing the service to herself as a married woman.
Yes.
So a lot of what you do in this season of your singlehood is what you will enjoy as a wife and a mother in marriage.
Yes, ma.
Wow.
Yes, ma.
That is the reality of marriage. I want to just take out all the skills, because the skills are just rolling out. I don't know whether there's one more skill in marriage that you feel is a major thing that singles, you've looked at it and you just say, I want singles to work on attaining the skill that is so relevant to the marriage platform. Is there one skill before we go to the next conversation that you really, really want to talk about before we shift into another question?
Okay. Avoiding the spirit of competition.
That is a skill.
I am telling you.
That is a skill.
If you tell yourself, I am not competing with my spouse, I'm not competing with my husband, your husband knows that he's not competing with you. This is one of the reasons why you will, probably it could be because of the way your father and your mother lived. And you entered without realizing that this is not your father you're getting married to, or your mother. This is entirely a different being. You're supposed to build your foundation from your core values. What the two of you believe, and form your own foundation, not the foundation of your parents. So at the point some marry and they realize that some men will tell me that, why would my wife earn more than me? They're already competing. So if care is not taken, you want to cover or shield her from rising without understanding that it is your thing. Then the woman too, because of perception, you think you're competing. You want to, because they've said it's partner, you want to show
you're on the same level.
Yes, you're on the same level.
Or even bigger.
Or even bigger, So, or maybe because you feel your parents, they are well to do more than your husband. So you're trying to show what a man can do. That kind of slogan a woman can equally do. And you bring it in your home. You're a goner.
Wow.
Because no man will want to stand and compare with the wife, even if he doesn't have a penny.
Yes, ma.
That's when he will tell you, I am the man.
That's real.
See, when it comes, anytime you see an atom in your husband trying to speak, I am the man, there's something you have done,
doing wrong.
you're doing, or you just did, that you want to bring you back. So it's either you come back and readdress that point. It's no. This thing I'm saying is not like I want you to take my opinion on this. I just want to say it. If it pleases you, then we can go for it. So you have to bring, approach is the key, I tell you. If you have not learned, you want to make a point, you don't instruct like you're pushing your point so that your husband will do it.
Yeah.
So
you don't manipulate.
You don't manipulate.
It's not witchcraft.
It's not witchcraft. It's not witchcraft. Because if you're trying to manipulate, that's witchcraft. So
yeah.
You know this is right in your eyes. I keep saying in your eyes. Because your husband equally have something he wants to do that he feels is right.
It's subjective to you.
Exactly. So the approach you would use, just throw it open. Pray about it.
Wow.
Throw it open. Let him see from your eyes. But don't let him feel you're manipulating him to do it. But rather, let him, if you feel it's okay, then we can do it. But if you feel it's not okay,
you can leave it.
Most times, if he says no and he didn't do it, at times, someone like my husband will come and tell me, I made a big mistake. He will come openly to apologize, like, I made a big mistake. Then if you walk out, still come and let your wife know, if not for this idea, because we love appreciation. So it's both.
Yes.
Both.
Because at the end of the day, he has to own that decision. Even though you brought it, he has to bear the responsibilities
of the decision he has taken. Yes, that is it.
This is so real. In fact, as we are just reading out these tips, when you just talked about pray about it, I know that one of the things that prayer actually does is that as a wife, prayer washes the carnality out of you.
Yes.
So that by the time you're talking, discussing that issue with your husband, all the spirituality of the decision is really coming out. You're not bringing your pride into it, your technical know-how into it. It's really just what the Spirit of God wants the both of you to do. Ma, I need to give it to you. You have a lot of skill set I need to really release for the singles.
Thank you.
And I wish we can just sit on this. But like I owned up, because me, I'm very humble. I said it in the beginning. This is just a sneak peek. So follow this lady online, and singles hustle. This is where you'll be hustling. Start learning skills. Start being intentional.
Sure.
Start being intentional. Look, there's one more thing as you were talking about. I just felt we have to talk about this.
Okay.
Just like we discussed that men make mistakes. Men have weaknesses. And you don't understand. For some people, it's just really like they just feel, isn't it supposed to be perfect?
Okay, now.
So I want us to discuss this aspect, and I usually feel what ladies are talking about, but this time I'm just hearing the hearts of men. Tell them, I beg, we need respect. And girls are like, what is that one? He doesn't respect himself. It's not marriage. Is not auto-respect. You give out respect. Mother, what do you have to say about the realities of the need for men to be respected?
Without respect, you, the woman, will not be the queen.
Wow.
Yes. If you want to enjoy your home as the queen that you are, you have to give the respect to him, the king. You can imagine the king, you know how they sing praises to him. Everybody adores, your majesty and all that and all that. If you think he's not needed, then your queenship is nowhere to be found.
Did you hear that?
Yes, because you're the one to reap from it.
Yeah.
You're the one to reap it.
Reality.
Yes. So, every instruction given to us by God through his word is for our benefit. I keep telling people, see, your marriage is more important to God than you.
Yes, ma.
It's more important. It's God that wants the marriage to be. So it's not something you cry yourself out and you're rolling all over looking for the man. No. So if it's important to him, he was the one that discovered it, that you need to, find someone to do this thing together with. It's important to him. So you own it. Live your life as a mature Christian. not just to your husband, not just to your wife, but people around, like we cited. Then, when it comes to respect, you are being instructed. Submit. When, that submit part of it, that's where reverence falls in. Wow. That's where worship falls in. That's where respect falls in. If you understand this aspect, that's where you will not need to compete. You can't compete with your boss. If you're tired, you leave.
Yes, ma'am.
But in marriage now, you're not going anywhere. You're there. So, at each time a man feels honored, at each time a man feels that the respect due to him is being given to him, he goes out of his way to show kindness that men, your neighbors, will look at and they say, hey, this man is woman rapao. They will not know the sacrifices you're putting on the table. So, if at a point people have not said you woman or you wife, if they've not said you are a slave in your own home,
or you gave him juju.
Yeah, exactly. You're using juju to hold him, charm to hold him. You're a slave. You wake up very early. You go back very late. You do this, you do that. If they've not said it, you have not started.
Wow.
Then if for the men, if they've not said your woman rapper, everything your wife does is good, you have not started.
Wow. So that's a checker.
It's a check. It's a check. So if you give the man what is due for him, he won't have choice. It's a give and take.
Yes, ma'am.
He will submit.
Yes, ma'am.
If peradventure you feel you are expecting that give and take to work like that and it's not working, something is blocking it from getting to you. Still pray about it.
Yes, ma'am.
Find out what is obstructing your effort, like you reaping what you have sown.
Yes, ma'am.
So you have the one you do by yourself, then you have the one you table to God to help you. Because you see this thing we are saying, respect. It's something you have to decide. It's a decision. I have decided to love this man against all odds. It's a decision. I have decided to respect you. So how will you show that you're not respectful? Either from your facial expression. Let me break it down, because when we talk respect,
it down.
from your facial expression, from your response to when the king is talking, then from the movement when the king is done talking, the way you walk out.
More. And your tone.
And your tone, so you can't raise your voice and you tell me that's the way your voice is. It's a lie. So if you feel your tone is very high, start learning how to talk gently.
Wow.
Gentleness is a fruit of the spirit.
Yes, a gentle spirit.
A gentle spirit. So if someone is talking to you and you're doing your face like, of course, it's a non-verbal expression.
Yes, ma'am.
You're communicating like this one is not entering, and it's going to one ear and is leaving through the other. So how will he know you are respecting him? Your actions show it. How you address him, show it. How do you address him in your house and the public, in front of your children, will show it. So, if you're the one paying the bills, how do you relate it to your children? That is your husband that is paying the bill.
Wow.
So, those things, they stay and they watch. So, you are not the one to say, I respect my husband. Your husband should be able to say, she respects me.
Wow.
So, at each point in time, you should be able to ask your husband, am I respecting you enough? Is there any area I want me to change?
Wow.
I respect you the more.
Wow.
So, they will talk.
See, this, you you just rolled out a whole semester curriculum that, in fact, your life as a single is the only platform to learn these things, train yourself in these things, see that you have even started bearing fruit, because some of us enter marriage without bearing the right fruit in that aspect of singlehood. We didn't see ourselves become respectful. Then we just wake up one day and we're in this man's house and he's doling out instructions like, excuse me. So in fact, what you said about the tone, the way the way you react after, those are just heavy duty things. And I want to just say again something you literally said, because I know it will bring both comfort and instruction to that single who is 40 and not yet married.
Okay.
God needs the marriage more than you.
Yes.
God, I want to just say it again.
Yes.
God needs the marriage even more than you. So just know that he's more interested in you being married than you can ever desire. That's why I'm trying to say your desire no reach. God desires it even more than you. You know, I just said earlier on that Nollywood, Hollywood, when it comes to this marriage thing, they didn't really do us. We just felt, you know, in marriage, there'll be roses on the bed when I wake up. He will serve me breakfast in bed. There'll be vacation from one. Our life will just be vacation to another vacation. In fact, we'll even have our babies on the plane. And, you know, when you're not telling people that, you see this marriage I gave to you, like me, God, I have a purpose for it. I want you to talk about the reality of marriage being a ministry. Because like, which ministry? I beg, buy car, let me be driving. And which one I beg? It's just me, myself, and my village people and I. Please, what can you say about marriage being the purpose of God and marriage being a ministry? He said, but I'm not a pastor. I did marry a pastor. Is it only for pastors?
See,
is involved.
If you have not understood that marriage is a mystery, and marriage is a ministry, you cannot function in it. See, I love that adage that says, if a purpose of a thing is not known, hey, abuse will everly come. Yes, it's inevitable.
Yes, ma'am.
One of the things that, if you see a successful home or any marriage you're envying or you admire, both of them understand what they are doing. They are hard workers. They are really working hard.
So true.
So true to make it work.
Yes, ma'am.
If marriage is totally a ministry, it's a ministry because it's not our thing. It's not our thing. In fact, in the hierarchy of service, the relationship between you and God is one, the first one.
Yes, ma'am.
Your marriage relationship is second, before your ministry as per your church.
Yes, ma'am. If you have one.
If you have one. So the Bible says
business.
For business, yes.
Or business, yeah.
So, or business. The Bible says if you cannot take care of your immediate family,
your
household, how can you take care of the church?
Yes, ma'am.
That means you need this one
first
before this one,
yes, ma'am,
to come in place. So in that side, you realize that your relationship with your spouse wants to model something. That's why I say it's a mystery. If you understand it, you will know that your common enemy is not your spouse. Why am I saying this? If you understand that I'm to show you the life of Christ. Ministry is a help, is a service. If it's a ministry, if I'm your wife and I'm showing you the life of Christ, and you, my husband, you're showing me the life of Christ, together, we are small units. We are showing our small units, our children, you come into the church, we are showing the church. You come into the world, we are showing the world what the relationship of Christ and the church is. So we are models.
Wow.
So if we are models, it helps us to know, hey, honey, I know you are trying to make a point, but the way you said it, I didn't really like it. You have made a point. So he loves the way you approached it, and he will look for a way to make amends or say sorry on that. So if you understand it's a ministry, it gives you a mindset to make up your mind. If you're single out there and you're listening to us, the point we are trying to make is marriage is not Facebook. It's not social media. It's not to hold hands and pose on the road. It's to walk. What has God said concerning marriage? Since it's his own thing, he should tell us what he wants us to do. So at each time you're not reflecting the glory of God in your marriage, you're not doing anything.
Yes, ma.
It is not to get married, give birth, and die. Your marriage must affect someone's life.
Yes, ma.
Someone should see your marriage and desire to get married.
Yes, ma.
That is ministry.
Yes, ma.
If someone look at your marriage and said, over my dead body, I don't want to marry you, then you're not doing anything. So, it's not a show thing. It's not like, let me do it so they will see we are living fine. Meanwhile, you're fighting. You're deceiving yourself. Even the man you want to pose with knows you're not respecting me this much at home. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So it's something you make up your mind. Let us be model. Okay, let us be model. Let's model Christ in this our marriage. So people view it and they understand that.
Look, ma, is as I always say on Sarah's Kindred that time goes when you're having a good conversation. And I just want to say thank you, ma. This has been a crash course on the realities of marriage. And I want to tell our singles there are other realities to go and discover. And I really want to encourage our singles to first of all follow her, and also online on social media, and also start intentionally building up those skills needed in marriage. And one of the skills that we have seen that is so relevant today, and every episode we have had on Sarah's Kindred, is your relationship with the Word of God.
That's true.
Because from all you have said now, the Bible is the marriage handbook. And as a single, if you find the Bible boring, I don't know what you are going to do in the marriage. So we can't even say it enough. And this is just to bring us to the end of this episode. Please, to our dear singles, marry your Bibles first. Marry the art and the skill of talking to God in the place of prayer. Be intentional about every relationship around you, good and bad. Until when we come, and another time on Sarah's Kindred, keep on enjoying every single season of your life. Please head on to our social media platforms and drop your contributions and what you've learned there till we see another time. Bye for now.